So the transfer window is done. Champions League qualifying is finished. We've got 200 million in the bank, and there's been over 120 million spent and received. No, spent and accumulated in total. So it's been a busy window. Strap yourself in. We're going to look at all of the ins one by one. Someone said stop showing the screen with all the players, so we're going to look one by one. It's a lot more editing now. I'm going to have to cut out the pauses. So the first player to join us from the summer window is Felipe. Coming in on a free transfer, this 18-year-old Brazilian just looks insane. Like, this is one of these players who I think could just sneak in as a top player. He can technically play central defence as well, but a central midfielder who looks very good. Like, for 18 years old, costing us absolutely nothing. What a start. Next player coming in is a wonder kid to play at right wing back. Pontus Vamvakas, a Greek 18-year-old right back, well, right midfielder who can play wing back. 4 caps for Greece, and as a wing back, he looks very, very tasty. Really pleased with that. 10 million. But I think that's 10 million well spent. I mean, look at his rating compared to the rest of the squad. Wow. Next player coming in is Andre Green, a 19-year-old Danish centre-back who I've been looking at for the last 2 years from Northland. Finally got the deal done. 6 million. It comes in as a star player, which is a bit annoying. But I really wanted this guy because he can play in the libero, wide centre-back, ball-playing defender, central defender, all very comfortably. And playing with this new 3 at the back, he fits really well because with his height and his jump read, his balance, his pace, his physicals in general, as well as his mental technicals, he's a very good defender, but also someone who's going to offer something offensively as well. Now, I did spend a bit big on this central defender, but with his personality of a model citizen, I just had a bit of hope. 5 million, 19 years old now. Check, I signed when he was 18, but coming in at age 19. 5 million, he's valued up to 6.6, so maybe we'll get our money back if we need to sell, but very talented. I think it's a good bit of business as a backup centre-back. Maybe overspent on this. Jean-Bertrand Cadet. Very talented winger stroke attacker. I brought him into playing either attacker, mid or striker. Going to play in our B team, youth team for a couple of years and just see how he develops. 2.5 million, I do think we will make our money back. Is he a world beater? No. Would he be a good option? Yes, if he can improve his physical. So we'll see how he does develop. Now, you got a little spoiler of this guy in the last episode. Mungsgaard has come back. 27 years old. End up costing us 6 million. So it's not too bad. We needed a goalkeeper when we get to the outs. But came through our academy, sold Copenhagen, came back, sold to Watford, went on to Bristol City. 27 years old, has now come back to be our first choice keeper again. Danish international now, even though he has second nationality of Faroe Island. I'm just delighted to bring him back. Won't hang on Andrew Lowe too much. Coming on a free transfer. The whole point, this guy's another one of them players who we've brought in to play for our B team, who maybe will move on for a couple of million in a year or two. Next player is Bobby Hancock, the exact same idea. Come in on a free transfer, give it 6 months, a year, we'll move him on, we'll make some money. Needed to add a bit of depth to our youth team, and Jep Dietz was getting released by Horsens in Denmark, and maybe I see something there, maybe I don't. But in terms of coming in on a free transfer, he will slot into our under-18s. If he develops, great. If he doesn't, he'll probably move to another club in our nation, which is just fantastic. Now, coming in for 675k is Nadim Kappe. Now, he, if I'm right, he has Danish nationality. This was a signing who has been made with the sole purpose of loaning out for 3 years to NSI, where hopefully he will then gain citizenship and he adds depth to the league. He's never going to be good enough for us, so ignore that. He's adding depth to our league in general. Next player coming in is Lucas Sjotkowski, and he's cost us 1.2 million, 17 years old. He has balanced personality, he's not the best. I could only see half his attributes, and West Ham and Wolves were after him. So I took the punt when I was still scouting him, and it's probably backfired, but let's see how he develops with our youth team training. Because we do have some good youth coaches. Maybe they'll turn him into something. Solfjeld, I've been trying to get this guy for 3 years now. He was 23 years old when my scouts first brought him to me. We've ended up paying 7 million for him. Central defender, Norwegian international, 26, 6'5", can pass a ball. Just a very, very solid, experienced central defender now. Both feet as well. Honestly, I think it's a great bit of business. Him and Mark Watson as two of our back three is just insane. Really pleased with that deal. Another player I've been trying to pick up for since he was 16, I think he first appeared on our scouting reports. Evgeny Delzhansky. I feel like I nailed it. Very, very nice attribute-wise. Poor personality on spawn, but we are mentoring him, so I do hope that comes out. Both feet. Loves to wind up the opponent and argue with the official. He's not picked up a red card yet. We'll give it time. I think it's a good sign. 4.1 million. Maybe we'll end up moving him on and making just a very nice bit of profit, because we do have an issue where we can only have 4 foreign players, but we'll see how it goes. Now, the final signing picked up from Marseille after coming through the Tromsø Academy. He ended up going off to France, and we've picked him up for 4 million. Central midfielder, can play on the wing, but for me, he's more of a central mid. Very talented, 19 years old, Stephenson, and honestly, I see something there in terms of a long-term player who we could develop. 4 million, I honestly think it's money well spent. So that was all of the ins, spending 65 million this season on players. There's too much ins and outs, but at the same time, we're adding a lot of these players to our youth teams. And we still do have the issue of players just constantly wanting to leave. So let's go through the outs. So first off, to PSG for 5 million is Boccia, the right winger who we brought in. I think he cost us very little. 170k we paid for him, and then we sold him on for 5 million in the end to PSG. So yeah, he's not bad, but he takes up a foreign player slot, and in our new tactic, we weren't going to use him. Clean has gone on loan EB, one of our youngsters. A sad one here is Sterler went to Cardiff for 4 million. Well worth more than that, but contract only had 6 months left on it. We got an offer of 4 million. We have other players in that position. This new player, Felipe, as well, could play centre mid now. I decided to let him go for 4 million. If he doesn't want to be here, then goodbye. Otterson, our young keeper, who did become our star keeper, then complained he wanted to leave, has gone for 14 million plus 50% of next sale to Tottenham. Now, he's played 5 games for them so far this season. He is only contracted as a backup. Is now a wonder kid. Now he's left us. Bit annoying. But he's gone for 14 million total. Che Wright, one of the players who I did say we brought in with the idea to move on, signed on a free from Man United, ended up selling for 2 million. We actually made quite a bit of money here as well. So we have probably made about nearly 3 million in terms of having that player at the club. Elias Pettersson's gone to Kappa on loan. Ian Watson, who is another one of these players, brought in on a free, went out on loan and made us about 700k, I think, in the end, and then ended up selling for 2.6 million on top of that. So again, it's just money turning over, players coming in, bit of time at the club and then leaving. Naldo, we sold for 1.1 million, picked up for 100k, so that's money well done again. Couple of players there. Kappa's obviously gone to NSI. Patrick Christensen, one of our international players, gone to Icelandic club at BUBK. Now, one of the worst deals of the window is Mufasa, who had a 9 million release fee, which I couldn't get out. Like, I tried everything to get his agent to remove this release fee, and we ended up losing him to Gladbach for only 9 million, which is, it's profit. We paid 3.7 for him, sold him for 9, so it isn't profit, but he should be worth so much more. Millingston, I've sold to KI. We did like him. He's a very good player. Very good player. International for the Faroe Islands, but KI wanted him. KI are going to use him, so I decided to let them have him. Solheim has gone to AAB. I ended up saying if you buy him now, you can have 100k because they arranged a pre-contract. And then finally, the other sale I really didn't want to do, and at this point of the season, I'm in an absolute panic that we've lost Hjelle, who was an absolute goal machine this year. So he was doing really well for us this season. 18 games, 12 goals, 3 assists, 3 man of the matches. I was really enjoying watching him play. But we've ended up selling him for rising to 19 million plus 50% of next sale. So it's a good bit of business, but very disappointed to see him go. We paid 2.5 mil for him. Had him for a couple of years, sold him for 15.25. So it's not bad business, but at the same time it's very upsetting. So moving on to the Champions League qualifying before we look at our tactic. So our Champions League qualifying started against Baník of, I think it's Czech Republic. Yeah, Czech Republic. Start with 0-0 draw away from home. Very disappointing. You can see the tactics adjusted since the last episode a little bit, but we just looked really poor. Now, fortunately, we did bounce back and got 3-0 victory in the second leg. Hjelle and moved fast on the score sheet, who was still at the club at this point. That drew us against Moy Faroe from Hungary, and we got 6-0 victory in the first leg. Arneson, Hjelle with 2, Green, Cernes and Godfrey on the score sheet. 6-0. We through to the playoffs basically at this point. That was confirmed at home when Van Vakkas, Green, Midskoon with 2 and 16 on the score sheet. 5-0, 11-0 on aggregate put us into the playoffs against FC Basel. Now, unfortunately, in the first leg, we lost the game 2-1. Hjelle on the score sheet, but we just looked weak. We looked very weak in this game, I would say. And that continued as we have failed to make the Champions League group phases. A 1-1 draw at home to Basel. Midskoon in 46th minute. Arneson got a red card in the 39th minute, so we did play with 10 men for 3/4 of the game. Just shocking. Shocking. We've been knocked out of the qualifying and we're going into the Europa League group stage. So in the Europa League group stage, we are going to be playing Trabzonspor at home, Lazio away, Olympiacos away, Espanyol home, Galatasaray home, Hertha Berlin home, Hajduk Split away, and Club Brugge away. Now, what I would say is I do have a lot of confidence we can go through and definitely get ourselves knockout round qualification in the Europa League. Obviously, time will tell, but we've looked good in the Champions League last few seasons. Now, I know tactical change has probably resulted in us going out, but I do think bit by bit the tactic is coming together. Coefficient point-wise, how has that affected us? We only have 2.250 points at the minute going into the group stage, so we really do need to improve that if we can go in and just see how the other teams have done. So first looking at KI, they went through against Slask, 2-1 victory and then a 1-1 draw. They then beat Derry, 1-0 away defeat before 5-1 at home, but they've just gone out in, I think that was the playoffs, or it was the 4th round against Vaduz of Liechtenstein, 3-0 and 1-0, demolition by them, but couple of rounds done at least, which they've not done in the past. Now, looking at Vikingur Goethe, I can already see they got very unlucky here. So, first off, they drew against Rangers in the Europa League. Lost 1-0 at home, 2-0 away. That's understandable. Then they managed to get drawn against Leicester in the Conference League. That is unlucky as can be. 2-1 victory away from home, by the way, before they lost the game 3-0 at home. They should have got more points, I think. We should have more than 2.25 points. KI almost got to the groups. Vikingur Goethe have beaten Leicester. I mean, come on. And looking at Vesta, they drew against Atletico Madrid. So first off, they played Lingfield. 1-1 draw at home. 2-1 victory away from home. So I'm going through into the next round. But Atletico Madrid, 2-0 defeat away. 2-1 defeat at home. But fair play to them there. Only losing 2-1 at home at the Vesta Stadium, by the way, which is it's looking big. 10.25 capacity. Jesus, Vesta, you have splashed the cash on a new stadium. Does anybody else have new stadiums? We have our 15. You have 3 there. You have a 9,000 capacity for EB. Soroy 800. KI have a 13,000 capacity. 1-2, 1-2. TB have a 9.5. They bottom of the league, by the way. Viking and Goethe only have the 2. Vesta again with the... Jeez, I mean... Fair play to them there. Okay, so looking at our tactic then, at the minute, going into the second half of the season, we are playing with the goalkeeper on defend, 2 normal central defenders with a libero in between on support. You have the half-back on defend here, 2 wing-backs, a centre mid, attacking mid, 2 pressing forward, still with the positive. Shorter passing, play our defence, work ball into the box and wide. We distribute into the centre-backs. I don't want to just give the ball away quickly. Counter and counter-press. Lower defensive line with a mid-block. Pressing more often, we are getting stuck in. So the tactic has changed a little bit since the last episode, but we're still in the development stage. I do understand that maybe this tactical change has cost us the Champions League group phase this year because our players were so used to the old tactical setup, but I did want to make a tactical change. I hopefully do think you guys like the fact we've changed the tactic. It just brings something fresh to the series, and it's now just about continuing the development of it and just seeing how it can produce results going into the end of this season. I've been Paul Olsen on the Northman. Thank you so much for watching. It does mean a lot. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we will end the season.